Welcome everybody, Steve here. Check out my next project. This desk used to belong to my dad, and he had it at a shop. He was a diesel mechanic and had it in his shop for years and years and years. Ever since I can remember being a little kid, this desk has always been around. Anyway, it's made its way to my house, and I think I want to put it in the house, so I want to freshen it up. I'm not going to strip it and make it all look absolutely beautiful. I want to leave some of the, some of the character and patina. Over the years, you got a little ring here. You got coffee ring here, or a stain from something. Who knows? That could have been burned in from something. But I want to leave some of that, but I still want to freshen it up. Now, of course, being in a diesel shop, it's pretty dirty. There was some oil spilt on this corner here. I cleaned that up quite a few years ago, but the first step is we got to give this thing a really good cleaning, because we're going to freshen it up with some stain, kind of bring back some of that color, that original color, and go from there. So we will give you a bit of a tour. There's really not too much to see, but there's a couple little patina things, that I'll show you what I'm going to leave, and go from there. All right, let's give you a tour. You can see she's pretty dirty. Got a little bit of stain, coming off there. And the handles aren't the greatest, but I'm not going to, paint them, make them look new. They'll just stand out like a sore thumb. But what's really interesting is, just like a scab, when somebody starts a hole, people just keep picking at it. I may be guilty of some of that, as I was a young kid. Another one over here. Check this side out. Okay, now everybody would sit on this side of the desk. So there's one there. There's people picking over here. It's just amazing how, when you get bored, you just, take a pen, I guess, and start making a hole. I'm not going to do anything with that. Those holes are going to remain. So let's pull the drawers out, take some handles off, and we're going to start cleaning this. So we remove the handles here. Check this out. That's a MacTac there. So you got to go way back. You may have to Google MacTac. I don't know if it's still around anymore, but that was the rave in the 70s. And if you didn't have that in your kitchen cupboards, you were nobody. There's some sort of a stamp on here. No, can't read it. I don't know, I'll have to look for a stamp. Oh, here's something here. Can't really see a date or anything on that. Check the other drawers. Make sure you put everything into a little container. You lose one of those screws and you gotta go searching. I'm just using, like I said, I'm just using a degreaser. Full strength. Because if it isn't clean, our stain isn't going to stick very well. It may take a couple of, well yeah, look at that. That's just that little spot right there. May take a couple applications here. Now this is a water base, of course, and I don't think it'll lift the grain. This is pretty old, stable wood here. Wow. Alright, we got some really good built up stuff here. Got a plan. So I'm going to use a scuff cloth. And that should help take a lot of that out of there. In fact, this might work for a lot of stuff here. Ooh, she's caked up pretty good. I've had to use a blade here. I don't know, looked like there was some epoxy on there, but if you do, you just give it a light little scratch, or keep your blade straight up and down. If you go like that, you can cut into it. I don't know if this desk was ever cleaned. I have to get some more degreaser. Running out. Holy cow, look at that. Wonder how that comes out. Gasket for something. We're going to leave that in there. Wow. There's a really big spider web in there. I wonder if people ever use those. Huh. Hardly even used the one that we had in the kitchen when I was growing up. Finding the only way to really get this clean is to use a Scotch-Brite. Don't worry about scuffing things up because we're gonna put a bit of a finish on this, so it'll all look good. Well, that's the plan. just giving the top a light sand with some 280, and 220 is fine, that works good. So, you know, this is pretty polished. You know, all over the years it's been beaten down, and of course we just, you know, cleaned it. So you want to just kind of break that surface, because we're going to put a stain on here. And if you don't allow it to absorb in, the stain's not going to do anything. So we're just going to give it a nice light sand. I'm not going to be sanding anything that is okay. It might be a light spot or two that I'll just touch it with the sandpaper, but it doesn't take much. Now the stain I'm going to use, this is an old Minwax. I probably had it for 30 years. Still good. Maybe 25. And it seems like it's going to be fairly close to what it was. So that's what we're going to use. I'm not going to try and match this thing perfect. You know, it's just something that doesn't really need to be done. It's actually pretty close. So, just gonna pour a little bit on. You're probably saying, oh, you should be using a brush. Let's move it around. And we want to put this on fairly thick and then let it sit in a little bit. Could use a brush, but I don't have one right now. I'd have to go get one. So this desk is, you can see I'm missing some chunks out of here. And it is just basically a veneer, you know, probably done in the 50s, 60s, sometime, you know. And back then, veneers were really popular. If you have any of that old veneer furniture, it's worth a lot of money. Okay, I'm just going to let this sit on here now. And I'm basically going to go over most of the exposed areas with this stain. And this is not an alcohol-based stain, it's just a spirit-based, so it's not going to dry right away, it's not going to streak right away. And let's say you had a little spot that was out, a little dark. You can bring this stuff back in, it'll just kind of, you know, rework itself. Soften what's underneath there and blend it all out. You have a lot of leeway with this type of stain. If you go with an alcohol-based stain, man, you better be spraying it on. This looks really, really good. I just wished it would stay like this. We'll have to see what it looks like when it dries in the morning. But I'm putting it on fairly thick. I'm letting this soak right in. And I don't know why I'm not wearing a glove. I'm just so excited about getting this on. We may have to put a couple coats on, don't know. We will decide that tomorrow morning. So all this stuff in the front, I'll just dip my rag in there. Just wiping off any excess that we have. It really looks good. So all that stain we put on, that's all that came back off. So it's soaking in. It's doing its job. This spot here on the corner, you can really see that it's wore. But there were a lot of problems solved at this desk, if you know what I mean. Well, things are looking good. We've got one good coat on here. We're going to see what it looks like in the morning. But anyway, I was looking at this can. It's got a date stamped into it, probably a lot number. So it was 8/2/91. That's a pretty old can of stain, and I paid $5.99 for it. So that's kind of cool. That's surprising it lasted this long. So now we can work on the drawers. Same thing, let's get them cleaned up. And we'll give them a coat of this. The drawers aren't as bad a shape because, of course, nothing really sticks to the sides. There can be some cooties. We'll have to just make sure everything's right, clean. Couple of spots here that I want to just give a light sanding to before I give them a little shot here of stain. Even if you sand the stain, just it'll take the stain a lot better, the new stain. Got the glove on. Scratched in here. It says Dad. It's probably one of us kids. Either me or my little brother. Okay, these rags that I was using, I'm just putting them in this metal bucket. Now, they'll dry out in there, but I don't want them because they can just combust on their own if the environment is right. It's too much snow outside to put them in my fire pit, so I'll put them in this, make sure it's out of the way. We're safe, we don't have to worry about it starting on fire. It's happened. Next morning, so I think the top deserves another coat here. Normally when stain dries, it lightens up, you know, the wood absorbs everything. So we're gonna give the top another coat. And we're going to give her a good coat too. No messing around. Go slow so you don't splash any on your nice clothes that you're wearing. That looks like it's going to be good enough. Wearing shorts today. It's going to get above 0 here in Canada. In Alberta. That's my cutoff for wearing shorts. Just gonna let this sit on here for a little bit, let it absorb. There, that's almost right on the money. Alright, we'll let that sit and we'll wipe her off. Looking good. You can see it soaking in. Looking good. So there's a couple shiny little spots there now. I think we can wipe her down. Go with the grain, that way you won't have any unwanted streaks that you'll see with your eye. So with all that I poured on there, that's all that's coming off. So it's still soaking in good. Yeah, the top's looking really, really good. I didn't think it would turn out that nice. A lot of good old patina in there though. You can't fake that stuff that good. You can try and fake it. The drawers, I put that a little bit of stain on the top one and the one that's just on the side there. Hope I'm in focus there. The other two look like they're going to be just fine. It's time to add the poly. Now, I want the top a little bit darker, so I'm just going to tint it with a little bit of stain. You can go about 10% or so. Not too much. And that will help darken things up a little bit. But you got to be careful. You don't get it streaky. Well, it's time to put the poly on. Now, if you guys watched me before, you know that I'm a really big fan of this rub-on poly. This one here is a wipe-on poly from Mimwax. This is just a satin, and you just saw that I just tinted this one a little bit. So our first coat, we'll put it on there, see what it looks like, see if we like it, and then we can go from there. And you can apply this any old way you want to. I've sprayed it and then wiped it down, and you can use a brush. Up to you. But just get her on there. We're going to put 2 coats of this on. And I think that's going to be fine and dandy. Remember, you're just getting it on. No rhyme or reason here at all. Just get it on there. Okay, and once she's on, and just let it sit for a minute or so, go with the grain, and just give it a light little wipe, even it all out. Time for coat number 2. Going in circles, the way I'm doing it, it's like polishing your car. Make sure you get every little spot, you know. Works it in nice. Get into all those little grooves. Oh, a little more up there. See it set up a little bit. And see how much more fun this is than just using a brush. Using a brush wouldn't be very much fun at all. Just wipe her down. And every time you do this, you put a little micro layer on. And it just looks better and better. And if you really want a nice job, you can give it a nice light little sand with some 220 or a little finer than that. And then it gets better yet. You don't want to let it sit too long. I've got a little bit of time to work here because of it being, you know, a little cooler in my shop. You'd wipe it off immediately if it was a hot day. You don't have very much room or time to work on it, or else it'll get sticky on you. Okay, we're going to do a little repair here, but just look at this joint. Really nice dovetail. You know, you don't see that unless it's really expensive modern furniture now, but that is beautiful. A close up of that. So we'll just put a little glue on her. Clamp it back together. Oh yeah, gotta show you. That's the Mac tack in there. That's some special stuff. A little different than that other box I showed you, or that other drawer. Don't need very much glue. The heck here. Should come out. What I'm gonna do is put a little dabble dooey on there. I'm just gonna use my finger. We're just going to grab a little bit of water here. I have some over here. Let's make sure it's water, yep. That should work good. Cleaning up these handles is a bit of a chore here too. I don't really want to, I'm okay with the patina that's left on there. If I use a scuff cloth or anything like that, and I'll start removing a lot more of the paint. So what I'm doing is I'm using a little bit of thinner, and then I'll try some degreaser to get rid of any of the water-based contaminants that's on there. Man alive, that's really on there. I don't know what a light scuff cloth will do. Let's just see. We'll give it a try. Seems to do the best job. Wow, it's amazing how dirty these are. Well, they've been used a lot. I'm not going to rub too hard here. Just a light little rub here. Yeah, seems to be working out. Well, I'll get these cleaned up. We can start assembling this this desk. Time to start putting some handles on her. Now, if you look, each one of the drawers is numbered. So I'm assuming this is the bottom. So to keep it in line, I will probably use the one that's least wore for the bottom. I'd have to assume that's probably this guy. Drawer number 2. Just a little. Probably use a little wax in there. We can do that later. There you have it. That looks good. A little crooked there, it's not too bad. For a desk that old. Well, I'm happy the way it turned out. Now, I did not want to do a total restoration on this like I said at the beginning. I want it still to look old, I want the old patina still left on there. And I think it actually turned out better than I thought it was going to turn out. So there's some things you can do, like when this sets up and dries for a couple days, what you can do is put a coat of wax on there if you want. I may end up putting a piece of glass on there eventually. We'll see how that works out. I'm not too sure what I'm going to use it for yet. I've got a spot for it though. But I'm really happy at the way it turned out. And a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. you know, just tuning it up with a little bit of stain and then a couple coats of polyurethane, wipe on polyurethane, or wipe off polyurethane, and it looks great. It looks just exactly the way I want it to look. So I think that you know, for an old piece of furniture, you got some choices. Make it look new or make it look newish old. I like the newish old. Well, we finally got her done, and I'm really happy with the results. You know, it sat in the corner of my shop for quite a few years, and I finally got at it. I didn't think I could get the top as nice as I did. You know, there was almost more cleaning than there was, you know, putting a finish back onto it. And, you know, this is my first time I've ever refurbished a piece of furniture, and I wouldn't be afraid to do it again. So if you've got a piece at home, don't be afraid. Give it a try. You know, with the products that we used, the procedure is quite simple. You know, most of it's just cleaning. You may have to do a little sanding here and there, and depending on how far you want to go, if you have to do repairs or whatever, that's up to you. Me, I wanted to do this just to look 20 years younger, and I think I've achieved it. So now I just have to haul it into the house. That's minor. I can deal with that. So until the next project, thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned.